Hello, everyone, and welcome to Facts of Life with me, your host, Jay White. How's everybody doing today? Well, I hope everybody's doing good, living their best life, doing what they got to do to, percolate and make those dreams come true. So, yeah. Guys about toxic relationships, the signs of when you're in one, how to get out, and how to avoid them in the future. Applause. Alright, so relationships, we're just gonna get into it right now. Relationships are they're your life, okay? They are everywhere. You have them in all aspects, professional, romantic, platonic, and you name it. There is a relationship involved, and it's just really important to know how to navigate those relationships and to know when you're being taken advantage of or when you're taking advantage of someone else. So these are the signs of when the relationship is toxic, and it might be time for you to bow out. So in a toxic relationship, things are going to be more so 80-20 than they are 50-50. And, in a good relationship, you want the opposite. You want it to be mostly 50-50 with those random 80-20 moments, because nothing is perfect. And there are going to be times where you have to pick up the slack for the other person, but it should not be you picking up the slack or them picking up the slack most of the time in the relationship. It really should be like, you are working together most of the time, and then every now and again, if they're low, you're high, and if you're low, they're high. You know what I'm saying? So that is definitely a big tell-all sign, hey, this is not a good relationship, because they're sucking the life out of me, or I'm sucking the life out of them. Another sign you have, it'll be low vibrational. So when I say low vibrational, I mean y'all aren't really talking about anything or doing anything of substance. When you're around them, it's almost heavy. You feel low. It's just the energy flowing between you all. It's just low energy. It's nothing going on there. And typically those happen when y'all are too far apart, in the sense of, okay, they say you want to surround yourself with people who are above you so that you can strive to be better. And one thing I've realized is that when you are too far apart on the scale, it's good to have people who need to learn from you around, but when you are too far apart to where they cannot even learn from you, or where you're too far apart where you cannot learn from someone else, it creates it's no energy flowing, because I can't learn from you, or you can't learn from me. There's nothing you can get from this situation that is causing there to be a shift in energy and make me feel motivated to be a better individual. So it's low vibrational. There's nothing going on. There's no exchange happening where I can, elevate. And your relationships, a lot of times, they're supposed to elevate you. Even if you're not that close, they're still supposed to elevate you. And I'm not saying use people as stepping stones, but at the same time, those genuine relationships that you have, they're supposed to elevate certain things in you. And if they are not doing that, then they're just kind of taking up space. It's just kind of a waste of energy. I know, I like a lot of people. I'm pretty easy to get along with. And I find myself in situations where I'm in toxic relationships because of that. And it's you have to be more aware and know, okay, this is a low vibrational relationship. Maybe it's not the best thing for me right now, because I like to vibrate high. I like to be high energy. I'm all the way at 10 all the time. So low vibrations is just not the move. And that just takes me into the last point of another sign, is there's no value being added into the relationship. There's nothing, like I said, there's no energy exchange happening. You're literally getting nothing out of the relationship. And like I said, you're not supposed to use people or just be in relationships for personal gain, but at the same time, your relationships are supposed to add something to your life. They are supposed to make you feel happy and just elevate you, like I said. And if there's no value being added in the relationship, if you are not giving that person some sense of value, if they're not returning it, or vice versa, you really have to evaluate, like, what is this doing? Like, what is the benefit here? Why are we in this relationship? And it's not to say you have to be mean or rude or nasty or anything like that. You can very well be cordial and an acquaintance, and hey, even a turn up buddy from time to time. But it does not necessarily mean you have to be like in this deeply invested relationship with this person if there's no value being added. So like, just going back through the top 3 signs, if it's 80-20 most of the time, it's no vibrations going on, no energy, no value being added in the relationship, you're probably in a toxic relationship. And at this point, now that you know you're in a toxic relationship, we can start working on, okay, how do I, eliminate the relationship? Alright, so getting out of a toxic relationship can be very, very, very hard. I've been in my fair share of them, and I have to say the hardest part is really separating yourself from the toxic relationship. But you won't be able to fully escape it until you compartmentalize it. All right, you have to make up the decision in your mind. This is a toxic relationship. Now that I know it is a toxic relationship, where do I want to place it in my life? Do I want to completely get rid of the person altogether? If that's the decision you decide to make, your life is so much easier. But if that's not what you want to do, if you want to escape the relationship without damaging either party in the relationship, then you have to figure out where they fit in your life. If it is not the relationship that you are currently experiencing with this person, then you need to know what relationship you are trying to have with them, so that when you are going to switch levels of the relationship, it's a smooth transition, because you already know where you're putting them. So you have to put it in, you have to compartmentalize them mentally first before you even begin to escape the relationship. Like, you have to know, okay, I don't want to be this close to somebody, but I don't want there to be any bad blood either. So what do I want to do to get to that place? So that's step number 1. Step number 2 is commit to that compartmentalization. All right, now that is probably the hardest thing you will ever do, is committing to the place that you want them to be, especially in the romantic relationships, and friendships. Those 2 relationships right there are probably, the most heartbreaking things that can happen when you get rid of a friend, or you have to lose a lover, things like that. It's really difficult. So you have to commit to the compartmentalization of that relationship. So if you want to transition from relationship to friendship, then you have to begin to slowly, hold back. You have to not give so much energy into the relationship anymore. You have to slowly, and do it slowly. Do not just stop. When people notice when you just stop, like, you cannot do that. You have to slowly, just back off of the relationship a little bit and take more time for yourself. And don't forget to communicate during this process. Like, this is not something, I'm the master of doing it without saying a word, but this is something that, if, like I said, if you want the person to remain in your life, if you don't have to say anything, but if you want the person to remain in your life, then you have to communicate, like, hey, I'm going through a period of self-discovery. That is the extent of what you need to say. It does not have anything to do with the other person. A lot of times people think that how you feel about other people involves that other person, but it does not. It does not. It does not. It does not. It does not involve them whatsoever. All you need to say is, I'm going through a period of self-discovery at this time. And I'm just going to be taking more time for myself and things like that to get my mind right. A lot of people will just respect that and say, okay, cool. And so at that point, you can begin to commit to the compartmentalization that you have for that relationship. And then slowly but surely, there they are in that place that you want them. And you have successfully done the last step, which is fade away. Okay? You have gone back into the shadows. Okay, woo! You are out of the relationship, and now you can kind of view it from a different perspective, and it's new compartment. And that takes me to avoiding it from becoming a toxic relationship again. You have to have boundaries. Not only do you have to have those boundaries, you have to commit to those boundaries. Okay, so it is more than just saying, oh, I'm not gonna do this, or I'm gonna allow that, or I'm not gonna allow that. It is so much more than that. Sometimes it's I'm going to allow this, or I'm going to say okay to that. It's that peace of mind that you have when you're like, I'm not going to let this bother me, I'm not going to allow my peace to be taken away from me. All of those things are boundaries, and you have to commit to them within that relationship. So if you've recompartmentalized somebody and you have put them in a new placement in your life, you have to commit to that position, but you also have to commit to the boundaries you place upon that position so that they cannot leave that position. All right, because that right there is when the toxic relationship begins again, and it starts happening. It's when you start pushing the envelope and allowing them to do things here and there, and then all of a sudden you're back in a toxic relationship again. We don't want that. So you got to have those boundaries, and you got to commit to them wholeheartedly. Another thing is to do a random heart checks. You know, you got to randomly look at yourself, because a lot of times, you know, we hate to admit it, but sometimes we're the toxic person, and that's okay. That's okay. We all have good and bad qualities about ourselves. Nobody has to be perfect, but sometimes we are the bad people. So you got to do a look in the mirror. You got to heart check. You got to look back and be like, am I the toxic person? What am I doing in this relationship contributing to its toxicity? Because it's not always somebody else. It really, that's just the facts. It's just not always somebody else. A lot of times it might be you. And lastly, you know, just pray. You know, I was in a situation where I had just left a toxic relationship, and I was, you know, seeking out another relationship to get my mind off of the toxic one, and I did some things that I don't normally do. And although I enjoyed myself doing those things, I had to pray to God the next day. I was like, you know, if we are not supposed to be in each other's lives right now, please remove him. Remove him. Like, get him out. I had fun yesterday. Great. Get him out if he's not supposed to be here. And sure enough, I mean, it was probably the worst way to remove somebody, but he was removed. He was definitely snatched up by his edges, and God said word and got rid of that relationship. And we're cool now. We're friends. Like, I can still FaceTime him, talk to him about life and everything, but it's a different relationship now than what it was starting out to be. And part of me is sad about that, but we're not gonna talk about it. But all in all, like, it definitely helped that I prayed and God took that relationship away, because it gave me time to look at myself in the mirror and handle whatever it is that I have going on in my heart, and, you know, just get to a place where I can detach from everything and just learn how to let things come and go as they're supposed to, while still maintaining my peace and all of that. So, yep, that's my video today about toxic relationships. So we're just gonna go through the whole thing in summary. Yes, love a summary. The signs is 80-20. all right? Most of the time it's 80-20. Not good. Low vibrations and no value being added. Once you get to that place, you know you got to get out, and the best way to get out is to compartmentalize it, commit to it, and then fade away. And after that, you just got to avoid the situation from rising up with boundaries, regular heart checks, and a strong prayer life, okay? Thank you all for being here with Facts of Life with Miss J White, which is me. Don't forget to can't talk. Don't forget to subscribe to the blog today and every day, and just stay updated with everything that's going on. I look forward to new subscribers, and just any ideas that you have, please comment below. If this touched you, please feel free to reach out to me. We can talk about it. Like, I love talking to all of my subscribers and everybody who just tunes in. So thank you for that, and thank you for being here and watching this video. I hope y'all have a blessed day. Again, this is Facts of Life with Miss J White. You know, I'm signing off, and goodbye. Have a great day.